Are we hot?
Eee. It looks hot. It
I'm
looks
looking right
hot.
now on YouTube. Make sure.
Just got the notification.
Oh, yep. Good, cool.
Man, it's been a minute. Been a minute since we've been live with it.
No, we should really call this. Just think about it. Live session number one
Right,
of 2026.
girl, I woke up fired up this morning.
Live session of
yeah, yeah.
the first of 2026. And I expect it to be. I got high expectations today for it to be just a good one. Get some good movement today. I feel like
Yeah.
market was pretty volatile, pretty liquid, I should say. Yesterday, what was yesterday? Tuesday. Yep, Tuesday.
No, for sure. And right before I hopped on here, I was just doing some journaling. My day started out good. And, just after good, good. I hate that word. It's so subjective, just
Yeah.
depending on the context. But I made some mistakes towards the end of yesterday. But mistakes that I quickly recognized as uh, like that. I noticed that. I noticed that I need to journal that, and then move on from there. Especially just with the context of gold. Trying to be the hero, right? Having a good, feel like you haven't figured out. You're pulling some money away. Um, then you make two three decisions, and like you said,
Yeah.
in the past, those decisions would have blown the account, or it would have been
Yep.
an irrecoverable move. So I ended up giving back. I think I was probably up 1%, about 500 yesterday. Gave away most of it,
Hmm.
not quite all of it, but you know, it's because it speaks to so much growth that has happened, but growth that I recognize needs to happen. And yeah, man, I just love where I'm at right now. I'm just starting to, you know, piece together this whole
Yeah.
funding thing. I love it.
What, if you don't mind sharing, what was that? What were those mistakes that you were making?
So what I recognize, it was late last night. My eyes were like closing. It was bedtime, and I was just thinking about
Hmm.
this. I was like, I need to journal this. I have to write this down. And to be quite frank, like I'm not the best when it comes to journaling, but I
Hmm.
feel like especially right now, and I've been thinking about this over the last couple of days, especially this last week. I was like, I think that'll be really what just completes the whole picture.
Hmm.
I've always understood and recognized its importance, but just haven't executed the way that I needed to. Um, but as far as the mistakes I feel like I made, um, and when I say mistakes, I'm not necessarily saying I lost a trade. I'm not correlating that directly. Um,
Hmm. I
I
hear you.
think you'd second the notion of a mistake does not necessarily equal a loss in the market. A loss does not
Absolutely.
really equal a mistake. Um, but my mistakes were, so after I took a lesson, and then right when I took it, I just took the flip side of the trade. So I was gonna take it. I took a short on gold after its entire day. Want to be the hero, Johnny on the spot. Okay, I'm wrong. That's fine. Then I was like, okay, this is gonna just keep going. Then immediately I entered a buy,
Mm.
which would be fine, but just the way I approached that entry, it wasn't in a way of analysis. It wasn't in a way of, okay, let's see what's going on. Let's do a little bit of research here. Let's see what sentiment looks like. I didn't do that. And then okay, that started to go against me. I'm like, fuck, okay, cut it, cut the loss. Um, and then overnight I put in a play, and then it was just kind of the same deal, right? Took two lessons after having a good day. Um, it was more in the light of you know, maybe a little FOMO there in,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just wanting to be a part of the run. I'm like, okay, this is not going to go down. Okay, let's put in a
Mm-hmm.
buy overnight and see what happens, which is fine, right? But again, the mistake is just my approach to the entry that I didn't like. Again, so much growth had just come in the risk management part of things. You know, I wasn't over leveraged. You know, so when the stop loss hit,
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. Like I'm at a recoverable state. But it's just the approach. You know that that so that was my night last night, and those were some of my introspections.
When did you enter that buy last night? Was it after 9?
Yes,
Was it before 9:30?
I entered. Well, let's see. I can look right here.
Cause I was gonna buy two, and I'm looking at it right now. Cause I woke up, I saw I got stopped out,
Let's see.
but
Let's see.
we went 40, $470 in profit. Bro, my take profit was at $500. $30, $30 for my, and those type of things is
Yeah,
just happens overnight.
yeah.
It's just
And
like
that's what's hard just about trading at the all-time highs. You just don't have that upper reference level. Because
exactly.
that happened to me the other day. Like it was literally probably it was very close to my take profit to say the least. But you just don't know where to, like you just kind of put it at a spot, and like that's just all you can do at those highs. Okay, where's this thing
Like you just go for your 3 to 1 or whatever your setup, whatever you want that risk to be.
at? I entered at 11:40. No, 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 no.
Oh,
That's
11.
exit time. I was like, what the fuck? I was asleep. What? Right before I went to bed. 10:19. I entered
Okay.
that position.
Yeah, so that kind of already almost gone through its move. It looks like.
Right. And what I think about gold so much is the the drivers of the market, the people in the market. Because like gold is already a monster in itself, and just the confluence that's in this market. But then you just have the people, the bulls, the bears. After just crazy runs like this, you have like it's 50-50. I'd be interested to see what the sentiment would be like, but you have a lot of people that are very, very strong-willed in that this is going to just keep on going. And
Yeah.
then you have a whole crap ton of people that are like, I'm gonna sell this freaking thing off
Yeah.
so crazy because it's got to turn around at some point, right? But
And
as we've learned, and I'll set up, as we've learned, you just can't approach gold like that. Like you just have to just continue with your entries.
literally,
don't get too caught up into the okay, this is gonna this all time high and nonsense because it's easy to get eaten up by this motherfucker.
nah, facts. You never know what's gonna happen.
Negative.
The fundamentals are saying, hey, it should be going up still.
Hmm. Hmm. And man, I forget. I'll think about where I got this anecdote from because it's pretty recent. And I mentioned it in my last video, but essentially he said you can't connect the dots going forward. Right? You can only
Mm,
connect the dots going backwards. Like we just can't ever, and this goes for any market. Like the macros will say one thing, yes, and I think and we'll always preach like that's just the most verifiable, salient information that can help us make really good decisions in the market. But nobody, no AI resource can account for unforeseen circumstance, right? Because like if you look in the past, it's like say 2 3 days from now something happens. So we can't account for that thing happening, but that thing, something like that thing that's going to happen 3 days ago from now, has happened before in the past,
yeah.
right? So you can connect the dots going backwards, right? You can figure out why those things happen and kind of trace the breadcrumbs. But in real time, like you can't know that is going to happen, right? hence the importance of being in tune with the macros and kind of seeing how some of this stuff builds up. It'll kind of give us some intuition into some moves that are going to happen. Um, but I just really like that. I feel like that anecdote. You can't connect the dots going forward. It keeps me from entering a trade and not understanding my risk. It keeps me from
Mm-hmm.
being hopeful. It keeps me from not setting the stop loss. Just because you just never freaking know what is
Mm-hmm.
going to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Just prepare best you can.
Mm-hmm.
Where did I get
No,
that?
I'm right there with you. I like the way that sounds. Don't connect the dots going forward. You can't connect the dots going forward. I'm about to take a trade right now, actually.
Yeah, I'm
I
in
was on the
Q.
Riverside because I upgraded to the pro model for the trial, but it wasn't updating our profile on the internet. And then it said download the Mac app for better features. So
Uh,
I downloaded the Mac app
uh,
and I was like, what is this? Like I couldn't do anything. I could just every time I opened it, it would just pull me to the recording session. So we got some work to do on that end for Riverside, but
new tech. We'll get it.
new tech, new tech.
We'll get situated. Man, the stock market had a rough day yesterday. As I look at a little NQ trying to make a recovery. What news we got today? Trump speaking this early? Where's he at? Oh, he's in Davos. The economic forum. Where's that? Where's Davos? I just looked at that.
15 minutes.
Davos. One thing that's crazy, like it'll happen maybe once a week, but I'll hear about a place in the world, and I'm like, where the heck is that? I've never heard about that place in my entire life. Turns out there's a lot of places like that that I just don't know about. I was talking with one of my classmates, um, one of the medical students. He says she's from the Faroe Islands. I was like, where? Like the Faroe Islands.
Where's that at?
So it's like it's an island. Fucking, I looked it up. It's an island outside of Denmark.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I was like, I've never like. It's like the most random thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Looks
Yeah,
crazy.
can't say I've heard of the Faroe Islands,
Yeah.
but you learn something new every day.
One day we'll be able to explore all of it.
That's all. That's one of my favorite things to do. Honestly, is travel,
Yeah,
travel
but
to places.
it'd be cool, like once like 1 month out of the year, 2 months out of the year, like you just go like live in Europe or go live in Australia for like 2 months, like during the summer or something. Maybe
Yeah,
not 2 months. That'd be a little bit too long for me, just because I like being at the crib. Maybe about a month, 4 weeks, good amount of time, 6 weeks.
yeah, yeah, decent amount of time for sure,
Yeah, because when I'm in vacation, bro, like I like to take it slow.
for sure.
I'm not. I appreciate being a busy traveler and like wanting to see as much as you can while you're over there. But shit, man, I'd much rather take it slow, and take your time with it.
Nah, I'm right there with you. Waiting on this. What you watching right now?
I'm watching MGC.
I might have a trade that comes in. Just waiting on this slow bingle.
See you. Let's see you.
share my screen.
Still risk off.
I forget. I gotta share the screen so the viewers know what we're doing.
Hey, bro, I'm horrible with that. But
Bro,
we'll,
hold on, my fault. There we go. There we go.
risk on.
That's what I'm looking at right here.
Sentiment slightly shifted to risk off. Gold itself is reading risk off.
Q, go ahead and tell our viewers. For those of you that don't know, what risk off, what does that mean?
So risk off, risk on, and to be fair, you're putting this in my court, and I appreciate it. You're much better at explaining this than I am, but I love the opportunity for it. So risk on, risk off are two sides to risk sentiment of financial markets. What does that mean? Um, so the sentiment is trying to get a feel of if traders in general are seeking more riskier assets or are they seeking safer assets. A risk on mood refers to traders' willingness to make riskier trades. All right, it's kind of intuitive, if you will. A risk off mood refers to traders' reluctance to make riskier trades. So the names in itself are kind of intuitive, but what's the benefit, right? Why is it something that we focus on? Why does it say the information for us? You know, for us, the benefit of understanding whether the market is risk on or risk off, it allows us to align our trades um, and make sure we're trading with and not against the sentiment. Not, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put it that stringent. It makes us aware of what the sentiment is. And so, particularly with something like gold, a risk off asset, one of the major risk off assets there is. If we know the market sentiment is in risk off, um, we will then be able to kind of get a gauge on the feeling around the general trader's feeling around this market.
For
And
sure.
so with gold, a risk off market would indicate that money is being poured into gold because it is a risk off asset, right? So when traders are looking for, again, risk off, so ergo a safer place to put your money, to keep it vague. The gold is there for traders, just in just kind of a broad general scope of the gold market. When things get unstable, the market gets unstable, when geopolitics get unstable, traders, investors will pour their money into risk off assets like gold. And last thing here, it makes a lot of sense. We can make a lot of sense of that with this gold rally over the last, whoever knows how long, I can look exactly, and a lot of the geopolitical, geoeconomical instability that's gone on
Hmm.
since the majority of this run has been going on more recently, right? And more speaking to because gold has been all time bullish, right? We can look back and
Yeah,
so many um, so many instances, but that's kind of a long runaround way of explaining risk on, risk off.
I think that was the perfect explanation. So I'm not saying anything else with it. If you need to remember that, rewind the video. No, I'm just playing. But no, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, but something we
And
look at.
and and with the fiscal stability
Mm-hmm.
right now as well.
Yes, yes,
When we
yes.
think about the things going on with the Fed independence,
Mm-hmm.
gold reacts to everything. And why? I
Everything,
mean,
everything.
it's I have no idea. I don't have those answers. We don't have those answers. But no, the other thing I was gonna say too is silver. And so the overall the metal market is in higher demand. And then so we can think about that too, added on with the safe haven demand, which is a very unique time we're in currently. But I thought I was gonna get an entry. I never got my shift. I never got it. Stayed put.
Riverside won't let you change mics during the recording, which is weird.
Change your name.
I'm sure that we could do that with the pro feature. All right, MGC, a little risk on, risk off. I haven't looked at Reuters yet today.
We got this Trump speaking. We got Trump speaking in 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I was looking at the dollar, and we look at the dollar because gold typically has an inverse relationship with the dollar. Has been slightly interesting as of late, but if we look at, you guys can't see my screen, but daily over daily, we've been down on the dollar for the last 3 days, which has shown up in that bullish gold movement.
All right. After a heck of a rally from the dollar, I will say,
Yeah,
kind of ending on the 16th of January, made a heck of a rally, but in sense, some of the Greenland stuff and
yeah.
other things.
I've not seen much about that. Not that I haven't seen much. I haven't searched for much about that.
Yeah, no, for real. Because I know that's how I knew Trump was speaking today initially in Davos. I just saw something about like it essentially being I don't want to be too elementary, but awkward. Um, that's a very elementary word, but there's just kind of he going in there and there being some tension because I know the Europeans weren't a fan of that whole thing.
Mm.
Are not a fan of that whole thing. Europeans' weak energy spot reemerges. Okay, let's see. Determined to grab Greenland, Trump faces tough reception in Davos. However you said Davos. Yeah, man, and for the viewers, one thing I always like to encourage, man, and I'll have conversations with classmates, people, just about various things. Right, I refrain from, I really don't have like, a lot of political conversations, geopolitical conversations, with a lot of people. Um, But anytime I am thrusted in a conversation like that, I'm always left with one impression mostly. Is that people don't read anything. People don't read what's actually going on. I think so much of information that we are given is from this little itty bit of information from a Instagram post or a Twitter post, and that's it. Um, And the algorithms will say that that itty bit of information will most likely be leaned towards beliefs that you already hold, hence why you're being shown it. Um, so to get to my initial point, and what I always encourage, our platform will always encourage is going to platforms like Reuters, reading through the articles. Not anything crazy, doesn't take hours a day to read through, just some of the major stuff going on in the world. And so kind of my original thought with that was, so many people just have no idea what's going on in the world. And that's not a good idea. That's not a good thing either, in my opinion. I think there's definitely something to say about just being aware of what's going on in the world generally. The major tensions, who's doing what, why they're doing it, and to the best of our ability, be as objective as possible in our judgment of what's going on. Um, so yeah, as we were talking about a second ago, just figuring out more, learning more about this Greenland situation, doing my reading because I need to. Um, but yeah, you're just staying on it.
No, 100%, man. Gotta read to stay informed.
I need to get back to my reminiscence of a stock operator. School
Mm.
is nuts the last couple of weeks.
This article says the U.S. president is likely to use the World Economic Forum in Davos to escalate his push for acquiring Greenland, despite European protests.
But why? Let's see. Why Greenland?
Yeah, I can't remember if it had to do with the rare earths, but it has something to do with
Strategic for investment.
resources in Greenland, specifically to this race that we're currently in. And I believe it's strategically a primary, maybe territory or trade route or something of that nature. Could be wrong.
Okay, so we have a big military base up there. Arctic is opening ice melting, new shipping routes, faster military transit, easier access to energy materials. Okay, so it's kind of like a strategic play, resources involved, rare earths, uranium, strategic metals needed for defense tech, semiconductors. That's convenient. Why Greenland keeps pushing back? Greenland has been clear they want economic development. They want more autonomy. They do not want to be treated like a bargaining chip. I mean, one of the fascinating things, for me to, think about is just countries like Greenland, countries like, certain countries in, say Africa, certain countries in, just wherever. Like those places just getting more and more developed and more just able to kind of uh, do their own thing, if you will, not
Be
necessarily
more independent.
rely. Yeah, exactly. Not have to rely so much on outside resources.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what does that do to Big Brother, who's there and has been helping them out? You know, because I think that's a good thing. But when Big Brother is also using you as a strategical piece, then some risk can happen. That's interesting. This kind of reminds me of the Canadian trade deals. Those Canadian trade deals were formulated decades ago, and so far as we could, help them out, help out the little brother up there. Not to be derogatory in any way, but now as Canada has Canada, now that Canada, has just become a little bit more independent, self-sufficient. Okay, yeah, those trade deals might have to get amended. We might have to do some different things because it's just different now, right? But yeah, fascinating to pay attention to. Right. The World Economic
Oh, I
Forum.
didn't mean to do that.
What happened?
I got my hotkeys on,
Uh huh.
so I accidentally hit backspace and closed out the trade I was in. It's all good. Cut the cord. Cut the cord. Cut the cord. That's
Cut it,
funny.
cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it.
Cause I was trying to freaking delete. Yeah, I can't have that as a backspace. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again. I'll be hot.
Yeah, that's what I'd call a high yield button.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just turn these hotkeys off. I don't need them. I don't need them. Turn them off. It's all good. We're gonna re-enter on this move.
Ooh, I need to get to the gym today, man. Ugh. Ugh. Get to the gym. I need to get to the gym. I will get to the gym today. What typically goes on at the World Economic Forum? Please enlighten to our information. So it seemed like a bunch of, like clips, World Economic Forum, people talking. So it's giving me the World Economic Forum isn't a government and it doesn't pass laws. Okay. But it shapes narratives, priorities, and coordination at the highest levels. For traders and macro thinkers, it's less about headlines and more about reading the direction of global intent.
Yeah, I was reading it on Forex Factory. It literally says, the very last sentence, it says, comments from central bankers and other influential officials can create significant market volatility. But yeah, it sounded like just a group that just brought together a bunch of people. Because there's a World Economic Forum, there's the International Monetary Fund, right? Yeah, International IMF. There's the Bank of International Settlements. There's all these different world groups over the financial system. I find it interesting.
Yeah, and I got the live pulled up in the background. Let's see if I can get subtitles.
I don't like having that on my screen. It's bothering me.
This thing. Oh man, bro, Chuck. Like he'll go into a new room where an audience is like just stand there and be acknowledged for a sec.
Is the you said you got it playing right now in the background?
Yeah, I got the link from Reuters.
Share the screen. The audio should share too. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. We'll find out.
After 12 months back in the White House, our economy is booming, growth is
Can you
exploding,
see?
productivity
Yeah.
surging, investment is soaring, incomes are rising, inflation has been defeated, our previously open and dangerous border is closed and virtually impenetrable, and the United States is in the midst of the fastest and most dramatic economic turnaround in our country's history. Under the Biden administration, America was plagued by the nightmare of stagflation, meaning low growth and high inflation, a recipe for misery, failure, and decline. But now, after just 1 year of my policies, we are witnessing the exact opposite: virtually no inflation and extraordinarily high economic growth. Growth like I believe you'll see very shortly our country has never seen before, perhaps no country has ever seen before. Over the past 3 months, core inflation has been just 1.6%. Meanwhile, fourth quarter growth is projected to be 5.4%, far greater than anybody other than myself and a few others had predicted. Since the election, the stock market has set 52 all-time high records. So that's in 1 year, 52 records, adding $9 trillion in value to retirement accounts, 401ks, and people's savings. People are doing very well. They're very happy with me. Since my inauguration, we've lifted more than 1.2 million people off of food stamps, and after 4 years in which Biden secured less than $1 trillion of new investment in our country, think of that, 1 trillion, substantially less than that. In 4 years, we've secured commitments for a record-breaking $18 trillion, and we think when the final numbers come out, they'll be closer to $20 trillion of investment. That's never been done by any country at any time, not even close. Just over 1 year ago, under the radical left Democrats, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. In fact, the United States economy is on pace to grow at double the rate that was projected by the IMF just last April. And with my growth and tariff policies, it should be much higher. I really believe we can be much higher than that. And this is all great news, and it's great for all nations. The USA is the economic engine on the planet. And when America booms, the entire world booms. It's been the history. When it goes bad, it goes bad. You all follow us down and you follow us up. And we're at a point that I don't believe we've ever been. I never thought we could do it this quickly. My biggest surprise is I thought it would take more than a year, maybe like a year and 1 month. But it's happened very quickly. This afternoon, I want to discuss how we have achieved this economic miracle, how we intend to raise living standards for our citizens to levels never seen before, and perhaps how you too and the places where you come from can do much better by following what we're doing, because certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable. And we can argue about it, but there's no argument. Friends come back from different places. I don't want to insult anybody and say I don't recognize it. And that's not in a positive way. That's in a very negative way. And I love Europe, and I want to see Europe go good. But it's not heading in the right direction. In recent decades, it became conventional wisdom in Washington and European capitals that the only way to grow a modern Western economy was through ever increasing government spending, unchecked mass migration, and endless foreign imports. The consensus was that so-called dirty jobs and heavy industry should be sent elsewhere, that affordable energy should be replaced by the Green New Scam, and that countries could be propped up by importing new and entirely different populations from faraway lands. This was the path that Sleepy Joe Biden administration and many other Western governments very foolishly followed, turning their backs on everything that makes nations rich and powerful and strong. And there's so much potential in so many nations. The result was record budget and trade deficits and a growing sovereign deficit driven by the largest wave of mass migration in human history. We've never seen anything like it. Quite frankly, many parts of our world are being destroyed before our very eyes, and the leaders don't even understand what's happening. And the ones that do understand aren't doing anything about it. Virtually all of the so-called experts predicted my plans to end this failed model would trigger a global recession and runaway inflation. But we have proven them wrong. It's actually just the opposite. In 1 year, our agenda has produced a transformation like America has not seen in over 100 years. Instead of closing down energy plants, we're opening them up. Instead of building ineffective, money-losing windmills, we're taking them down and not approving any. Instead of empowering bureaucrats, we're firing them, and they're going out and getting jobs in the private sector for 2 and 3 times what they were making in government. So they started off hating me when we fired them, and now they love me. Instead of raising taxes on domestic producers, we're lowering them and raising tariffs on foreign nations to pay for the damage that they've caused. In 12 months, we have removed over 270,000 bureaucrats from the federal payrolls, the largest single-year reduction in government employment since the end of World War II. Nobody thought that was coming, but we had no choice. To make a country great, you can't have all federal jobs. We've cut federal spending by $100 billion and slashed the federal budget deficit by 27% in the single year. It's going to go down quite a bit more from that, driving inflation way down from the record highs of the Biden administration. Every month, they went up and up and up. I promised to cut 10 old regulations for every single new regulation. But instead, I've cut actually till this point 129 regulations for every one new regulation approved. So every time they come in with a new regulation, we do at least 10, but so far it's averaging out to 129, if you can believe it. In July, we passed the largest tax cuts in American history, including no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. We also provided 100% expensing. That's the one they like. And bonus depreciation for all new equipment and capital investments to help companies expand and shift production to America. They are so in love with that. They build a plant, they're able to deduct it immediately, the whole thing, rather than waiting 38 to 41 years in the old days. This is a miracle taking place. Nobody thought it would ever be done by any country, but it's done by us. It was what made my first term the most successful 4-year term that we've ever had from a financial standpoint. And now we've upped it. This is a 10-year program, not a 1-year program. But you're allowed to deduct everything in 1 year. It used to be 38 to 41 years. With tariffs, we've radically reduced our ballooning trade deficit, which was the largest in world history. We were losing more than $1 trillion every single year, and it was just wasted. It was going to waste. But in 1 year, I slashed our monthly trade deficit by a staggering 77%. And all of this with no inflation, something everyone said could not be done. There were a couple of brilliant people that actually thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was doing the right thing. Now they all think I'm doing the right thing because they can't believe the numbers. American exports are now up by more than $150 billion. Domestic steel production is up by 300,000 tons a month, and it's doubling over the next 4 months. It's doubling and tripling, and we have steel plants being built all over the country. Nobody thought they'd see that. Factory construction is up by 41%, and that number is really going to skyrocket right now because that's during a process that they're putting in to get their approvals, and we've given very, very quick, fast approvals. In the process, we've made historic trade deals with partners covering 40% of all U.S. trade. Some of the greatest companies and countries in the world. We have countries as our partner, too. The European nations, Japan, South Korea. They're our partners. They've gone into massive deals with us, especially on oil and gas. And these agreements raise growth and cause stock markets to boom, not only in the U.S., but virtually every country that came to make a deal, because as you've learned, when the United States goes up, you follow. It's really become a staple. In America, I've stopped the nation-wrecking energy policies that drive up prices while sending jobs and factories to the world's worst polluters. They are indeed polluters. Under Sleepy Joe Biden, new domestic oil and gas leases fell by 95%. Think of that. And they wonder, why was gasoline going up so fast? The gasoline actually topped $5 a gallon, and some places $7 a gallon, and more than 100 major power plants were violently shut down by incompetent people that had no idea what the hell they were doing. Under my leadership, U.S. natural gas production is at an all-time high by far. U.S. oil production is up by 730,000 barrels a day, and last week we picked up 50 million barrels from Venezuela alone. Venezuela has been an amazing place for so many years, but then they went bad with their policies. 20 years ago, it was a great country, and now it's got problems, but we're helping them. And those 50 million barrels, we're going to be splitting up with them, and they'll be making more money than they've made in a long time. Venezuela is going to do fantastically well. We appreciate all of the cooperation we've been giving. We've been giving great cooperation. Once the attack ended, and they said, let's make a deal. More people should do that. But Venezuela is going to make more money in the next 6 months than they've made in the last 20 years. Every major oil company is coming in with us. It's amazing. It's a beautiful thing to see. The leadership of the country has been very good. They've been very, very smart. The price of gasoline is now below $2.50 a gallon in many states, $2.30 a gallon in most states. Then we'll soon be averaging less than $2 a gallon. In many places, it's already down even lower, $1.95 a gallon. Numerous states are at $1.99, numbers that nobody has heard for years. Actually, since my last administration, we got it down to around those numbers. I've signed an order directing and approval of many new nuclear reactors. We're going heavy into nuclear. I was not a big fan because I didn't like the risk, the danger. But they have the progress they've made with nuclear is unbelievable, and the safety progress they've made is incredible. We're very much into the world of nuclear energy, and we can have it now at good prices and very, very safe. And we're leading the world in AI by a lot. We're leading China by a lot. I think President Xi respects what we've done, in part because I've allowed these big companies building these massive buildings to build their own electric capacity. They're building their own power plants, which when added up is more than any country anywhere in the world is doing. I read recently an article in the Wall Street Journal that China's creating so much energy, and they are. I got to hand it to them. But we're creating as much or more, and we're letting them do that. I'm very proud of it. It was my idea. I said, you can't create this much energy. We needed more than double the energy currently in the country just to take care of the AI plants. And I said, we can't do that. We have an old grid system. And I came up with the idea, you people are brilliant. You have a lot of money. Let's see what you can do. You can build your own electric generating plants. And they looked at me. They didn't believe me. All of the names that are, I think, in the room right now, if you want to know the truth, they didn't believe it. And I said, no, you can't. They came back 2 weeks and they didn't have the plant. They said, we thought you were kidding. I said, no, not only am I not kidding, you're going to have your approvals within 2 weeks. I always say nuclear will take 3 weeks. But most aren't going that. They're going oil and gas. They're even going coal in some cases. Because of my landslide election victory, the United States avoided the catastrophic energy collapse which befell every European nation that pursued the Green New Scam, perhaps the greatest hoax in history. The Green New Scam, windmills all over the place, destroy your land.
All right. I'm gonna use the restroom, and we can catch the cliff notes. That, yeah, that's a funny guy, man. Funny guy. He'll take every opportunity to, to shoot his jabs out there. Uh,
Yeah, I was waiting to see if he was gonna say something about Greenland.
uh, hold on, I can pull it up. That's a good point. Hold on.
What was that? What was that noise I just heard? Was that Reuters?
Uh, Cohen, what's
Yeah,
up,
no,
dude? That's a
he's
good
probably
call.
he's probably gonna be on there for a minute though. So
Right, right,
that boy
right.
talking a lot. I'm like, wrap it up, put a bow on it.
Yeah. I know,
Come
right.
on, bro.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
All right, Colin, what's going on, man? Didn't even see you in there. You trading right now, Cole? I'm at that point where I need to start getting ready for work soon. But I'm in this right now. I'm in this trade right now. Let me show you. Let me show what I'm looking at real quick. Where's my favorites bar? Oh, there it goes. All right, so entry came like one of these candles. Pretty sure it was this one right here. After I got my VXT confirmations come in, right? And so I took this trade already, but I took it and I accidentally hit my hotkey, and I closed down my trade. So I don't know, it was like $20 drawdown. So I waited for my confirmations to represent themselves, and I entered again. But you see my stop loss. Got my stop loss right at this 3 candle structure. We're looking for the 3 candle structures, decision making levels, right at that level, and then I see price action just all over that level. So I'm okay with that being my area of invalidation. I'm okay with that. Let me see. Nice. Yeah, you probably entered on that same candle. You say you entered 20 minutes ago. Probably entered on that same candle. Hold on, I need to switch the layout. There we go. As far as my take profit, like we're just riding this until we get confirmation that price could be slowing down. I could use the 15 minute. 15 minute, we're getting fresh MACD volume right now. So, you know, if we just look at the relative area of the MACD, right? We pretty much got all this room to cover on this MACD. Do we have to cover it all? No. Could we cover half? Potentially. Could we not cover any and just head down? Yes. But that's just what I'm looking at to be able to determine the longevity of this opportunity here. But if Trump says anything about Greenland, they're gonna get some. Like that candle gonna get spiky. Q, when you go to tier two, is typically a dollar amount that you enter tier two, or is it something else about how prices actually move into tier two?
Moving to tier two. First part of the question, no, not necessarily a dollar amount. So I'm not, say for example, my 50K fund didn't get to $300 tier two. Nah, I wouldn't necessarily put it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say I move into tier two when I'm able to slide my stop loss up past break even. So tier two, how I define tier two is I have guaranteed profit in tier two.
Mm-hmm.
I I am officially in tier one when I am able to be at no risk, right? I don't move into the tiered system, quote unquote, until I am validated by price that my hypothesis is right. Okay, tier one entry, let's move stop loss up to break even. Now we're at zero risk. I'll move to tier two when prices move to a point where I feel like I have room to move my stop loss up to guarantee profit.
Yeah.
And usually that will indicate me to add in a contract if I want to, just depending on how much room I have to the next decision making level, or it's very context dependent. And then just as I move up in the tiers, that would be again just moving the stop loss up, possibly adding another contract, sliding the stop loss up, and just guaranteeing more and more profit as you move up the tiers.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, I'd move my stop loss just too close to price to where just pretty much every time you get stopped out.
Yeah.
So there's a buffer zone, if you will, that I'll give it, you know, because I'm okay with potential. I can't speak. Potentially ge- getting stopped out a little bit lower if that means I run into big plays,
Mm-hmm.
right, through the
Mm-hmm.
system. When price does start running and you're there, that's a beautiful place to be in. Those are the big lump sum amounts that you'll be able to take home from the market. So instead of like kind of getting stingy with the stop loss, I still give it a little bit of room. Like I said, moving into tier two, I'll have guaranteed some profit, right? So I move from zero risk to now I'm guaranteed to have a quote unquote winning trade,
Mm-hmm.
and continue to push on from there. Um, but yeah,
No, I like it. I think I approach it the exact same. At tier two, it feels like it's normally around a dollar amount
hmm
that I've think
yeah,
about
yeah,
entering
yeah,
tier two.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
That I at least think about it. But then I'm kind of looking at price, and it'll give you that initial kind of breakout type of look
yeah,
normally.
yeah. And in my YouTube video, I made the comment. this might be direct, but like moving from tier to tier, it's just so context dependent on what kind of account
Yeah,
you're trading. Like it's just so context dependent.
for sure.
And then the next part of that was, oh my God, I just had it. Hold on. Context dependent. Um, God, what'd you just say that reminded me of it?
The breakout.
I'll find it. I'll fucking find it. God damn
Well, it is about 7:04, so I gotta get ready for work. I get to get ready for work. Gotta correct that. I'm still in this trade. Stop loss has been set, so we'll see where it ends up. Cole, appreciate you jumping on.
it.
S&P is moving fast. Yeah, the market is just purely reacting to what Trump is saying right now. Like every other sentence they're in buy and sell and buy and sell. So, oh, my stop loss just got hit. Speaking of that, crazy bearish candle right now. But
All right,
I'm
fellas.
gonna be patient. All right,
All right, fellas.
catch you guys next time.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys in the circle.